I'm Heidi. I'm sitting in my new car, the engine off, my hand resting on the wheel. It's been 4 months since I walked out of that house, and this car is more than just a vehicle. It's a symbol of a life I've built for myself, one where no one can take it away. It all started on my birthday. I was working a long shift at the local veterinary clinic, sterilizing surgical instruments in the basement. My phone kept vibrating in my locker, but I was too busy to check it. During my break, I finally looked at the messages, and they changed everything. The first text was from my father, Henry. "We sold your car. Family comes first. Be grateful we let you live here." I stared at the screen in disbelief. My car, the one I'd bought with my own hard-earned money from overtime and extra shifts at the clinic, was gone. 2 minutes later, another text came in. "Your sister, Lily, starts college on Monday. You'll cover her first semester. $5,800 this week." And then, a third text with a picture of a knife and the words, "Try acting like a daughter for once." I felt a cold chill run down my spine. I walked up 6 flights of stairs to the employee parking deck and stood in the empty space where my old Toyota should have been. That's when I called home. I said a single word, "No." My mother, Victoria, got on the phone and started screaming. "Pack your things. You're dead to me." After my shift, I went home. I packed only what was truly mine. I didn't damage anything, I just left. I left behind an orange folder that I'd been building for over a year. It was filled with proof of all the things I'd done for the family. My father, Henry, was a self-proclaimed family hero. He owned a small landscaping business and loved to give long speeches about how he was the one keeping the family afloat. He'd often say, "This family survives because I work myself to the bone every day." But in reality, he'd squandered the college fund that was supposed to be for Lily. The first time, he used it to buy a new, expensive lawnmower, claiming it would double his income. The second time, he bought a small camper, saying he could rent it out for profit, but it just sat in the driveway. My mother, Victoria, ran an online bakery. She was good at making cakes and pastries, and her Facebook friends always praised her for her creativity. But she was also passive, always going along with my father's decisions. Lily was the golden child. She was in all the honors classes, had beautiful prom photos, and was the star of every family post. Everyone thought she was going to be the first in the family to go to college, but the truth was, my parents had been lying about the money. I was the reliable one. I knew how to manage the business accounts for my father, handle customer complaints, and keep the family's finances in order. I'd set up the online payment system for my mother's bakery, and I'd always been the one to pay the bills on time. I did all these things because I thought that being useful meant being loved. I hoped that if I fixed enough problems, the family would be happy. But that night, when I got home and confronted my father about selling my car, he just shrugged it off. "You say my car, but your name isn't the only one on the title," he said with a smirk. My mother jumped in, saying, "Don't start with that tone. We're under a lot of pressure." I was furious. "You sold the one thing I need to get to work, and now you want me to pay $5,800 for Lily's tuition?" Lily whispered, "I didn't ask for your car. But I knew she'd benefited from my sacrifices for years." My father slapped a print out of Lily's tuition portal on the counter. "You have a stable job and no kids. You do this for your sister, and when she's established, the family will have options." I laughed bitterly. "What family savings? What options? You've spent the college fund, and half the bills are paid from my account, and you reimburse me late, if at all." My mother went rigid. "That's enough." I retorted, "Enough was you letting him sell my car and thinking I'd say thank you." My father stood up and took 2 steps towards me. "You owe this family everything. Don't walk in here with that clinic badge like you're better than us." I shot back, "If I owe you for being born, then send me an itemized invoice." My mother pointed at the stairs and screamed, "Get your things and get out. You're dead to me tonight." I went upstairs, packed a duffel bag with my clothes, chargers, important documents, and the locket my grandmother had left me. I also took the orange folder. Inside were payment confirmations, screenshots of business transactions, and texts from my father asking me to cover expenses. I added a typed letter that said, "You've mistaken my competence for consent for years." When I came back downstairs, my father blocked the door. "If you walk out, don't expect any favors from this family ever again." I shifted my bag to the other shoulder and said, "That starts now." He put a hand on my arm, but I pulled free and walked out. I called my best friend, Mia. She lived in a small apartment above a coffee shop with her mother, Clara, and their cat, Whiskers. When I told her I needed a place to stay, she simply said, "Bring your charger and don't wake my mom." That night, I didn't sleep much. At 1:15 a.m. My father sent a text saying, "Last chance." At 1:22, my mother texted, "If you love your sister, come home and fix this." At 1:46, Lily texted, "Please answer. I can't breathe in this house." I didn't respond. Instead, I logged out of all the family-related accounts I'd set up. I removed my payment methods from the electricity and internet portals. I downloaded all the important data to an external drive in cloud storage. I wasn't taking revenge, I was just withdrawing my support. At 2:30 a.m. I sent an email to my Aunt, Rose. She was a no-nonsense woman who always believed in hard evidence. The subject line was, "Since I'm no longer welcome, here are the records you may need." I attached scans from the orange folder and a note about where the original was. At 6:58 a.m. My phone started buzzing non-stop. My mother, Lily, and my father all called. There was also an unknown number, which I later found out was a customer waiting for my father to open the gate for a landscaping job. I called Aunt Rose first. She asked if everything in the folder was true. I said yes. She told me that my mother had found the folder when the internet went down, and my father couldn't remember the account password. Lily had seen the print out of how my father had used her old savings to buy the camper. Everyone was in an uproar. My father called me, barking, "Come back and fix this mess." I asked, "What mess? The one where you sold my car or the one where your business depends on me?" He was angry that he couldn't access the client list. I told him he'd never bothered to learn where it was because I'd always taken care of it. Then Lily called. She asked if I knew about the college account. I said I'd suspected the money was gone, but I didn't know the details until I pulled the records. She asked if I'd ever tell her. I said I'd hoped our parents would fix things or be honest. She then said she'd packed a bag. She was at the back steps, not knowing where to go. Mia and I went to pick her up. On the way back, she told us how my father had been searching for passwords, my mother couldn't log into the bakery website, and Uncle Tom, who'd come to defend my father, had changed sides after seeing the paperwork. By late afternoon, the whole extended family had taken sides. My father told everyone I'd hacked his business and manipulated Lily. My mother said I was having a breakdown. But Aunt Rose started forwarding documents, and the truth started to come out. At 5 p.m., Mia offered to drive me by the house so Lily could get a few more things. When we arrived, my father saw us and demanded I get out and fix everything. I told him selling my car and calling it family values was childish. Lily got out of the car but didn't go into the house. She confronted my parents, saying, "Work what out? The money you let him take, the deposit she paid, and the car you sold?" My father tried to silence her, but she stood her ground. Mr. Johnson from next door, an old man, leaned over his porch and said, "If your daughter paid your bills, maybe you should apologize." My father's face turned red. He finally dropped his tough act and pleaded with me to tell him how to access the accounts. I told him to tell the truth to the school, the family, and the customers. I also said he should sell the camper and use the money from the car sale to buy me out of all the family-related accounts. A week later, through Aunt Rose, I got the transfer documents for the car money and proof that I was removed from the accounts. I sent back a basic guide on how to access the remaining systems. Lily deferred her admission for a semester, got a part-time job at a bookstore, and started therapy. We're not close yet, but we're trying. My mother still sends messages saying she knows I'm angry, but I don't answer. My father hasn't called since that day in the yard. This car, sitting here in the parking lot, is my new beginning. It's proof that I can build a life where I'm not just a tool for my family. It's my revenge, not in a bitter way, but in a way that shows I'm finally free.